Hello folks, welcome to Land Tamer Stream. Thursday night. It's Friday Eve. So that's good. It's always good. We made it this far this week. And depicted here is the SpaceX's new Falcon 9 Block 5 rocket. It did not take off about an hour ago. It was scrubbed. It's funny because they were talking about it, streaming it, countdown to 1 minute. They said, okay, control has now been turned over to the rocket. And the rocket has aborted the launch. I don't know, I guess it went through some, final check, and the computer took over, and the computer's like, nope, not going. So they'll attempt it again tonight. Hey, mentors, first again. Yeah, buddy. First in the text chat. I think Show is first in the voice chat. I saw him there, so good to have you guys here hanging out. Yeah, 58 seconds aboard. Always tomorrow. Better safe than sorry. I know what it's like to be there. The only launch I've ever witnessed at Kennedy Space Center was scrubbed the first time I went. So they give you a rain check, and then you go. Like for me, it's over an hour drive. I'm not complaining though. Not complaining about that. So then we drove out the next day. Had the next day off, and that day it did launch, and there's nothing like it, folks. You got to do it if you can. If you're coming to Cisco Live, or if you've never done it before, you vacation in Florida. No, it was not Challenger. It was a Falcon 9 rocket. I haven't really had. I mean, I've always had kind of interest in space flight and astronomy, but not really so much as I do now as, at midlife. So I wish I would have made it. I haven't lived in Florida either, except, for even, I've been here, next month will be 2 years. So, but I'm trying to take advantage of it, But yeah, I love it. So let's talk some networking, folks. We might do a little hexadecimal review. Quas, just a couple of social media happenings as it relates to interest to me in streaming, etc. Yeah, I know, mentors, you're in the West Florida area. Guilty pleasure through exploit, love it, man. Man, I love astrophysics too. I just, when Stephen Hawking passed, I went out. I've already seen the series that he had, and I talked about it here on the stream, but I went out and bought on Amazon to rewatch one of his series that he did. It was so good. Dark matter and dark energy, and I love that stuff. Man, so many things we nerd out on, right? But yeah, so it's I think about the same time tomorrow. It's scheduled to launch. But just a couple things, I've hit a couple of areas, little landmines when preparing the boson. And today, of course, I took a little bit of time. I wanted to take a little bit of break from Quas. Not that I've been hitting it extremely hard, but I have been studying Quas, and in particular shaping and policing, and some of the finer points of that, the configuration of that. But there were a couple of leftover items from my last boson exam. I've kind of kept away from the boson exam for, all week. I think I finished the last one, it was Sunday. And so I've just, been taking this week to go a little deeper on some of these topics that I missed, that I failed. So one is, I wanted to review the IP cache flow command, which is, of course, part of NetFlow. And I've actually had to use this, in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases, you might have NetFlow sending to a NetFlow collector, whether it be SolarWinds or another product. SolarWinds, they call theirs NTM, I think, or NPA. I forget the actual name of the module, but basically it's NetFlow. And, you get aggregate data there, which is what NetFlow does. It's sampling, right? But there have been occasions where I've had issues getting to the collector application, like either it was down or it wasn't receiving all the NetFlow data and showing it to me, and I needed more you know, I needed to see it from the CLI. I needed to get on the device. I think it was a switch. And so I had to use the show IP cache flow. So it is a very helpful command. It can come in very useful. It is important to know how to use it. And part of that issue I had, though, wasn't NTA, thank you. Yeah, network traffic analysis, something like that. SolarWinds has so many acronyms. I can't always cite them all. But yeah, there's the main ones I use, I think, are IPAM, NPM, NTA, Network Performance Monitor, Network Traffic Analysis, or something like that. One of numerous products that I've used or am using. But yeah, so you need to know how to get the CLI, and of course, show IP cache flow. It's going to show you ports in hexadecimal format. So you need to be able to convert that relatively quickly. And I had honestly, the last time I saw it, I had actually forgotten the basic math of it, because I'm not even sure if I studied that for CCNP, to be honest. I think I did study for CCNP, and I don't remember why, but I think there were some questions related to that. But anyway, it's important to know. So I reviewed the math again today. I'm like, okay, right, of course. And generally, a lot of cases, you'll see either 2, 3, or 4 hexadecimal numbers. And to convert those to binary, you just take, you multiply the first place by 1, the second by 16, the third by 256. Probably because of IPv6, YYZ. Yeah, could be converting the address. Mentors call study math as well. Yet I never use and just use a hex. Yeah. Yet I never use and just use a hex. Right. So it's good to reference and remember the math on it. So it's just quick review. It's like, okay, I did a little practice today, just briefly, like on a conference call that was not involving me. So, first place, to convert to binary, it's just times 1. So, of course, 0 through 9, and then A is 10, B is 11. Boom, that's your first, what do they call this? Series of numbers that you have to add together. There's a name for that. And then the second place is times 16. Times 16. And then the third is by 256. So anyway, if you see 3AB, for example, that would be 256 times 3, 16 times 10, A is 10. Oh yeah, you do need to know, you definitely need this for IPv6, but I've sort of memorized, that's a good point, YYZ. I've sort of memorized, like, if I look in the, and I know I'm interrupting what I was doing, and sorry, I'm bad about that. Sorry if I know I get ADD sometimes on here, folks. Sorry about that. Yeah, in this practice sheet, I've sort of memorized these and not even thought about the equivalent, like, EIGRP v6 routers are identified FF02 : A. And, I just know that's EIGRP. Of course, I could say, oh, yeah, A, that's 10, right? It would probably make that easier to remember. But, yeah, it is definitely important for your IPv6. But, again, you're going to have a lot of those ranges sort of memorized. You're not going to actually, you probably won't. I say this, I don't foresee it being an issue for the written, but for the lab exam, yeah, you might have to do some conversions. You might have to convert, it may say do 6 to 4, and we want you to use this block of 4, things like that. So anyway, IP cache flow, that is important. And going back to kind of the calculation, so you take these, you add them up, 256 times 3, 16 times 10, 1 times 11, and that number is 939. What I saw is oftentimes you're not going to see big number. You will see big numbers like this in IP cache flow command. But oftentimes, if you're looking for port 80, for example, So when you do show IP cache flow, you might see an output of 80, which in hexadecimal, let's see, work that backwards. That will be 50. My math is not that good. 50? Yeah, that'll be 50, I think. So you'll see like 0050 as the port number. Well, don't think that's port 50. That is port 80. That is HTTP traffic, right? Do you ever play streaming while working on some labs? Would be cool to see your thought process while working through them. Through exploit, I don't really do that now, but if you look at my YouTube channel, you will see me working through a lot of labs. As a matter of fact, I used to stream on YouTube exclusively. And then later I switched to Twitch, but I still upload all my labs. But if you just look at my channel here, you'll see a bunch of labs. I mean, the only reason I broke up, my intent was, my strategy was to lab the entire INE workbook, then schedule the written. And unbeknownst to me, I actually got approved for the Cisco Live, where I get the free lab or written exam. So I'm like, okay, let me stop. I'm in multicast. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to study the blueprint for the written, and I'm going to pass this written at Cisco Live with my free $400 exam. So up until then, starting last June, I started labbing, and I've got a ton of labs on here: OSPF, MPLS, EIGRP, and some of them, I definitely, if they're new areas, I struggled a lot, and some people help me here on the stream, but it's really cool. I really enjoy it, and I will be doing that after the written exam. I'll be back to labbing and starting with multicast. Do you ever play stream? It would be cool. Yeah, it's interesting to watch the thought process, right? Is IPv6 multicast lineup 2240010 and such, so I just convert if I need them. That's true. That is true. If you need to convert a multicast address, it is handy for that. Math skills is probably important. Why I failed, lol. Yeah. When you think about, and I learned that lesson from the CCNA, I failed my first CCNA attempt because I was cocky. And I'd taken VMware exams, I'd taken IBM, I think I'd taken a couple other exams. The same thing, you go to the vendor, you sign up for the exam, and you show up, and, I'd done okay on those other exams. Hadn't really been a problem. I hit a Cisco exam, my first Cisco exam, CCNA, and I failed, and it was humbling. And part of that was math and doing the, route summarization, converting, decimal to binary and binary to decimal, etc. And that got me. And I was like, oh, man. So I actually started playing. Cisco used to have an app. They still have it, I think, the binary game. And I would play that. I would drill that. And I finally got the math down. Yes, math is important. And you have to take it seriously. Yeah, most def. You had one stream, I think, over 12 hours long. Yeah, I think it was 13 hours, something. I did and the intent of that was not to show, just to be a lunatic, although I probably am a lunatic. But the reason I did that is it was a tip from someone else who has passed, and it was like, it's good to get yourself conditioned for the all-day lab. So if you can lab for 8 hours, or test for the lab, and you can sit down and you can do a 5.5 hour lab, that's good. So part of that was to work on my mental endurance and labbing, intense labbing, and I'm going to do that again as I lead up to the actual exam, lab exam date. I'm going to drill or test very long labs just to be prepared for that, because a lot of people say when you sit down for the lab, there's a high amount of shock value, and in simply the scope of work that is involved, the amount of time you have to do it, and the amount of concentration you need. So yeah, You want to prepare for that, and that's why I did that crazy. I actually did one day. I think the first it was it was just me at the house for that weekend, and the first day I did it like 8 hours. The next day I did like 10, and the next day I did 12. 3 days in a row. Yeah, man, lab party, live stream. Let's do it. We're definitely going to do it. It's fun. It is fun, and it's challenging, and it is exhausting. I will say this. Going forward, and I was telling my wife, and she noticed it, man. I was so wiped out after that 3-day weekend of labbing so many hours that it took me a full, 4 or 5 days mentally to recover. Hey, thank you, Maleficent 9014. Appreciate it, man. Glad you stopped by here at Landhammer Stream. Hang out with us, nerd out, talk labbing, talk strategy, talk certs. Always good to see people in the chat, man. Yeah, when I did that marathon lab, that's one thing I regret later that I learned is, it's fine to sit for a lab exam and it'd be 8 hours. But you can't do that 3 days in a row. At least I can't, not at my age. So going forward, yes, I will do lab marathons just to build that endurance, but I'm not going to do them back to back. So this is another thing I was studying, the IP cache flow. I say binary. It is binary. It's really hex to binary conversions, hex to digital. And then port security. So I did work on that some more and kind of got that down, and I updated the drill sheet. So if anybody wants to practice that, I put some commands here just to make sure. And the first search I did, I'd forgotten all about protect. That is also a mode you can use on port security that I'd completely forgotten about. In fact, I'd already done my research on restrict and shutdown, and I was like, another search revealed protect. I was like, oh yeah, what does that do? So had to review that some, and then how to recover from port security. If it's a single port, of course, you can always just shut no shut, but this is another way, air disable recovery in global mode. And then of course sticky, and then here's some trivia. So what happens if you do switchboard port security MAC address sticky, and then you do no switchboard port security MAC address sticky? What happens to your running configuration and the sticky addresses that you had? It does not remove them from the running configuration, which is interesting. That's a CCI written question waiting to happen, right? Sometimes you see those things, you're like, boom, that is sneaky. I'll bet they put that on an exam. 3exploit, I take my CCNT May 21st. Any tips what I should mainly focus on? Oh, that is awesome, man. May 21st, so you got to count down 11 days. I don't know. In 11 days, it's kind of hard to say. And it's been to be honest, it's been a long time since I've taken the CCNA exam. I took the CCNA, I didn't do the two tests separately. And I guess, obviously, they're still doing that. I took the whole thing in one sitting. So I can't really tell you in particular with the CCENT. I will just say, just in general, and having taken, a number of Cisco exams, is, get proper rest. Take a day or two. I would take a couple days off work if you can beforehand, and just relax. Take one day to just relax and, do something you enjoy. Get your mind de-stressed. Get plenty of sleep, plenty of rest. And, and for the last few days, I guess, oh yeah, I say work, you might be in school. I don't want to make an assumption here. My school doesn't pay for the second test. Oh, they only offer CCNT. Well, it's great that you're getting that one. That's awesome. I don't know. I would, is it IP addressing in CCNT, ENT? route summarization and things like that. I don't know, that would be probably something good to review. I honestly don't even know what's in the CCENT in comparison to the rest of the test. But, I know you're in that, the Cisco study group. So you might be able to get more specifics there. But again, just make sure you get plenty of rest. Don't stay up late cramming the night before. Try to stay calm. And, don't worry. If you don't pass, it's not the end of the world, man. Like I said, I'm working on the CCIE now. I didn't pass my first CCNA attempt. So, you're young. You got the world is your oyster, as they say, old timers say. So you're in good shape, man. And you're participating in here and with others in the Discord. You're going to be just fine, my friend. And wish you the best. Wish you all the good bits. So yeah, port security, that's good. I'm still reviewing QoS. This was a good link that Show put out there on MLD operations. I've reviewed some of it. This is really important, some of these details about the actual operations. I really like this article, so I didn't get time to read it. It's brief, but it's well illustrated. Highly recommend it because MLD is definitely a part of the written. And I've already reviewed it somewhat, but I'm still a little shaky on it, so I will be reviewing this link. And mentors, definitely watch the David Bombal YouTube training vid series to refresh before your exam. You should be good. Don't stress and relax. Yeah, good advice, mentors. I like that idea of, what do you typically do before a test, right? Right before a test, you try to review a whole bunch of, you quickly reflect in your mind a lot of different components of information. Videos is good. And the nice thing about videos is that you can watch them, or even if you have YouTube Red or whatever, you can listen to them while you're riding in a car or while you're working. And just even subliminally, that stuff can give you kind of a review, which is great. Maleficent, I think failing is a good thing to a certain extent. Shows your weak spots, but if you don't fail, even better. Keep pushing. That's exactly right. Sometimes failure is good. There are a lot of examples of that in history, where certain great achievements probably would not have happened if they didn't start with failure. So good stuff. But yeah, MLD and social media happenings. Just brief. All this whole streaming thing for me is an experiment for potentially some future something. I don't know. And I do pay attention to what's going on in social media in terms of the business models and the controversies. YouTube, seriously, YouTube has been in the news. Generally in the morning after I come back from a workout, I'll play while I'm making breakfast, because I also do keto and I have to cook most of my own food. So I'm cooking breakfast. I'm listening to Good Morning America. And almost every day this week, YouTube has been in the news because of some controversy about their content. And most of it is negative. Just today, though, I saw that Instagram, there was a tweet. I posted it in the Discord. Mentor says Edison is a prime example. Yes, Edison is a really good example. But yeah, it was 50 Cent. He was like, I'm off Instagram. I'm dropping Instagram and going back to Twitter because Instagram removed some of my content. I don't know the rest of that story. I don't know what that's about. But, Facebook goes without saying the controversy that has been going on there, testifying before Congress, etc. YouTube has been in the news, and they've been trying to, they're probably looking at Facebook and laughing up until now, but who knows? YouTube has been in the news a lot of negative things, so I'm just glad that so far Twitch has been able to avoid. It's coming though, guys and gals. I'm pretty sure that Twitch will have its own controversy coming. It's every social media platform. Discord has been in the news because of these fake pornographic movies that people have been making, and where they put someone else's face. I forget what they call those. There's a name for it. But people were apparently sharing a lot of that, and they were able to take it off a lot of websites, but people are sharing them on Discord. That was in the news, the mainstream news. So, it's just interesting to see. I like Twitch as a platform. I plan to stay here. And YouTube, this one of the motivations for kind of getting off YouTube is how the smaller content providers are feeling a real, hurt right now in a lot of ways. So hopefully Twitch will, continue to be a great platform. I'm really enjoying it. Third exploit. It's hard not to stress out about exam, though, since I would like to get this cert before I graduate high school. And I can have A+ and CCNT under my belt before I start college working on other certs. I understand that. Since you're, I don't know, I think you mentioned your age before to exploit, but I know you're at the age where you are probably feeling a lot of pressure for a lot of reasons. Academic achievements, especially when you start talking about entry into college and college applications. I understand, man. There's a lot that you want to accomplish and a lot that you want to do. A lot of us have been there, and all I'm saying is, it's natural to feel stress. Hey, this plus that. Good to have you on the stream, my friend. Talking about a recent passing of an exam. We got this plus that. He's still celebrating. He's still basking in the light of getting his CCNA. So we're glad to have you here, man, in the chat. But yeah, I was just saying the 3x boys, it's natural to feel pressure and to feel stressed and to really want to pass. But yeah, you want to enjoy the journey, and just it's fine to feel stress and it's natural, but don't let it affect you too much. We all have stress every day in our lives, work, family, medical conditions, things like that. But it's really, the challenge is, how do we react to the stress? That's what separates, the men from the boys, so to speak, is the people who are able to face that pressure, calmly, and to not let it impact getting the job done. I've seen people shaking, right? You definitely don't want to be shaking in the exam, or put so much pressure on yourself. You got to find a way when that clock starts to just focus, And part of doing that, some people before an exam, they can't sleep, right? The night before the exam, they just, toss and turn. Some people, that happens even several days. You can't let that affect you to that extent, because if it does, then it's going to impact how you do in the exam. Because if you're not well rested, if you're not concentrated, if you're not focused, you don't want to be sitting in the exam thinking, oh, what if I fail? What if I fail? You don't want to think about yourself, right? Don't think about yourself or your future. In that moment, you want to focus on the exam itself. Anyway, that's my advice. Do your best to get rest. And as they say, that's key to not choking in the exam. Some people literally will lock up. I've heard people talk about that especially the CCIE lab exam. You get there, you get overwhelmed, and you just kind of lock up, and you don't want that to happen, right? So stay cool. You got this, my friend. You got it. And again, don't worry. If you fail, it's not the end of the world. You will learn, and the next time you take it, you'll probably get a high score, passing score. Yeah, enjoy the journey. Hey, I like the emotes, man. I need to get my emote game going, guys. You know, I got. I can provide at least at this stage at least one emote, and I'm definitely gonna work on that. Hopefully before Cisco Live. I dream about the exam in my sleep, and I feel relaxed and ready to go, knowing I already passed the exam. There you go. It's all about attitude. You live and learn. Yep, that very true. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. So, the exam I failed, but thought I was going to pass for sure. As soon as I saw, I was kind of get a little scared. The lady next to me. That's hilarious, man. Yeah, a lot of interesting things can happen in the exam room. People who take the lab exam will tell you that there's a lot of story. You know, one day, folks, we might sit here around the land tamer campfire and tell some old yarns about crazy things that happen to us in exams. Some of the funniest stuff I've heard is people have been to a CCIE lab, and they've had to share the room with people who are working on the CCIE collaboration, which is the phones. And they're having to like make things ring, and you know, like they hear phones ringing, and it's anyway, crazy stuff. That's a hilarious story, Maleficent. That's a good one. Yeah, there's those tense moments waiting for, you know, because it's not immediate. It's very fast when you're taking, you know, a non-proctored exam. You hit submit, and then there's like a few seconds, and then boom, the score comes up. That is a very tense moment, I have to say. Always enjoy that though when it is a pass, and when it's a fail, it's like your heart goes, yeah. So I've been there. So yeah, those are social media happenings. I have one other meat chunk of the day, folks, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. This is a good one on Throughput. I did read this. Yeah, no breathing happens for those moments, right? You're like, yeah, and you're frozen in time. But yeah, this is a good review, guys. You know, when you think about a gigabit port, Cisco, for example, will sell you a switch, and they'll say it'll have this many gigabit interfaces. That it will do 1 gig E to forwarding, routing. Probably not. So very good thought. This is a good blogger here, so I recommend it. It's not too long of a read, but I highly recommend it when it talks about Throughput. So just thought I would share that, folks. And that's really all I got today. I'm about to go ahead and do a little more study myself. Review. I think I may do some other review of the drill sheet for tonight. I think that's my plan tonight and tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow again, folks. Usually I take Friday night off from streaming, but I will be streaming this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and you know we'll be back at it. And by that time, I will probably be ready to retake the boson exam, depending on how far I am with Quas Review. And I'm feeling pretty good about that. So that's my plan going forward. YYZ says 4431 stops at 650 megabits if you're using a VASI interface. Learn that the hard way. What is VASI, YYZ? Landtamer Google's VSI interface. Oh, VRF aware software infrastructure. Configuring the VRF aware software infrastructure. Interesting. Mentors, great stream, man. Glad I had that opportunity to join you, peeps. Have a great night. Hey, you do the same, Mentors. Always good to have you in here. Oh, let you peer with your own device. Oh, interesting. Here's ASR, VASI. Do they say VASI? VASI? When there's a need to apply serves like firewall second NAT to traffic that flows across different VRF instances, you need VASI. So you're creating 2 hops within the router. Huh. When an enter VRF VASI is for the same device, packet flow. Packet enters the physical interface that belongs to VRF1. Or forwarding the packet of forwarded lookup is done in VRF green routing table. As he left 1 is chosen next hop, and the TTL value is decremented from the packet. Packet is sent to the egress path. Automatically is sent to the bars as a right ingress path. Packet enters BASI right 1, and 40 lookups done. The VR red routing table TTL is decremented again. VR green forwards packet physical enter gigabit. Wow. Okay, NAT firewall on a stick. Gotcha. Wow, that's pretty interesting. That's out there, man. Lets you peer with your own device. Then you can import and Hey, new subscriber. Thank you so much, Exploit. Awesome. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate you subbing with your Twitch Prime. Guys, if you don't know, if you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free Twitch Prime sub a month. And always appreciate that. I'm hoping to get some new lighting here on the stream. And, you know, all the proceeds, of course, are going back into any stream gear, stream tech. So thanks so much again to Exploit. I really appreciate it. Yeah, run a lot of these things at work. We used to make several virtual CPEs on 1 box. Wow. Oh, virtual CPE on a box. That's pretty cool. Guys, if you don't know, YYZ is a big service provider and has a lot of experience in networking and in particular regards to service provider. And that's some cool stuff. Well, yeah, thanks so much, folks. I think it's going to wrap it up. Let's get to whatever if you're studying or you're labbing or you're relaxing or you're hanging out with family. Thanks so much for stopping by, folks. Appreciate all the support. Great chats, great talks, and wish you the best in your studies. Hope you get wishing you all the good bits. And, you know, folks, remind us, your exploit, whenever you're close to the date, you know, let us know. That's the 21st, so we'll keep you in mind. And we're going to wish you the best, and we're going to want to hear how it went, for sure. Oh, man. Now, YYZ, you just passed a Juniper exam. Right? Didn't you just, this is JNC ENT. I don't know what that is. Enterprise Routing and Switching. That's like RS, CCIE RS. And I'm assuming that's ENT, so that's expert. Wow, that's impressive, man, because I thought you just got another cert. Oh, there's a bunch of voice stuff in this one? Yeah, Monday. And you're doing another exam 4 days later? You're on a different level, my friend. You're on a whole different level. So that's awesome. Well, good luck. 4 days, so that is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So a week apart. 2 different Juniper expert beast mode. Juniper, yeah, Juniper's that's some good networking gear, guys. Wow, that is impressive. I'm kind of awestruck right now. You know, the Falcon 9 rocket launch is one thing. You know, that's kind of cool. With somebody taking 2 different Juniper expert level exams 1 week apart, you know, Elon Musk has got nothing on you, my friend. Wow, that's awesome. So we got those. I think maybe we'll make a channel, like a countdown channel in the Discord, so people can maybe we get a little bot command or something, so that we're ever aware of all the certs coming up. Well, that's awesome, man. We're gonna be looking forward to that. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up here tonight, guys. Thanks so much for stopping by. Great chat, great conversation, and we shall see you Saturday morning back here in the Land Tamer stream. All the good bits going your way.